Mhm. All right, guys, I think we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome back to a live podcast recording of the Purpose and Pixie Dust podcast. I am Lindsay Dollinger, and I am super excited to be here with Kacia Warren, who we've been Facebook friends for a while. I was trying to remember how we even got connected, and I don't even remember, which is kind of the story with a lot of people online. I don't know if you find that as well. But Kacia, thank you so much for being on the show. And why don't you start off and just tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you for having me. I am Kacia Warren. I am originally from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up there, but I live currently in Pensacola, Florida, and I love it here. I live on the beach, the Gulf Coast, so it is playland all year round. I am an empowerment and relationship coach, and I believe we met through mutual people. So, that was at an MLM. So, I
You're right.
followed you for a while,
Yep.
and we have networked a couple times together. We love to travel, all
Yeah.
those wonderful things, and so yeah, I'm happy
And
to be here.
the beach in Florida. What's your weather like right there right now?
Well, today it's
Or today?
chilly.
Oh,
Today it's chilly, and it rained. So we don't get rain very often,
yeah.
but the temperature's changing. Sunday it was 90 degrees. Today I think it's like 75.
Well, today we hit a whopping 39, and we're supposed to get rain and snow mix tonight. The
We
lows
can
are in
take
the teens.
it.
Yes, when you're like chilly, I'm like, okay, what's chilly for you?
Well, it's funny because people here, you'll see them in parkas and heavy winter coats, and you're like, I've never worn anything heavier than a fleece.
That's that Ohio in you.
Right.
How long have you been in Florida from Ohio?
It'll be 4 years in December.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
And how did you decide to make that transition?
Well, we decided we were going to live in the South in 2017. We downsized our house 4 times to get here. We had a 5-year plan and we did it in 3.
Nice.
And we chose Pensacola because it's centrally located. You can get anywhere within an hour.
Yeah.
We love to travel, and there was just an atmosphere of the beach lifestyle here. And we lived out on Perdido Key, which is very quiet.
Yeah.
And it's just so relaxing. It just soothes my soul, and I wouldn't want to choose another place. I love that you can get in, you can be in Nashville on a quick flight in an hour. And there's just so many things to do here. It's festivals every weekend. There's a lot of culture. There's so much entertainment, live music.
Mm,
And so I live closer to the Alabama side.
okay.
So we're really on the Florida Alabama line.
Gotcha. Yep.
And there's just so much to do out here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely on my to-do list is move
Well,
to
come on
Florida.
down. Come on down.
I know.
You
I
can
know.
come to my next retreat.
Yes. Okay. So tell us about how did you get started in retreats? Like, what do those mean for you? And what does that look like in your business?
Ooh. So, ever since I lived here in Florida, I've been, I planned my first retreat and then we had Hurricane Sally. So it got canceled, but we did 2 smaller retreats to replace that. My jam is in personal development. I love to empower people, especially women, because not everybody has a support system. Not everybody will build your confidence. A lot of people will burst your balloon and make you feel horrible. So I really love that I can nurture people and make sure that they have their cup is filled. One of the priorities for me is helping people establish boundaries, which a lot of people don't have or don't understand what a boundary truly is. So I really work hard in helping people gain the knowledge and really work on the skill because it's a practice. And my other jam is in emotional intelligence. I really believe that there's a lack of it in our workforce, and people are not, they're so ladder climbing focused that they don't think about the culture of other people and how other people feel or react. And maybe, so I feel like that's a big area that needs a lot of work. And I work in real estate, so I get to work on that every day. And that's a really big joy for me. And I really just love personal development. I love books. I love podcasts. I love learning. I'm definitely a lifetime learner, and that's a priority for me. And I love growing uncomfortably. And this year has been the true test of who I am. So for me, it's been a year of growth and opportunity, but it's also been a lot of highs and lows. But the good part of that is I have learned through some of my mistakes and some of the things that I may have trusted and my gut on that I now really think twice about. And knowing my intuition, which is my
Yeah.
guiding light, it's definitely my true north.
Yeah.
And that's, I treat people how I want to be treated. I don't let people treat me how they want to be treated.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and people are like, whoa, that's a big deal. But it is a
It
big
is.
deal to me in the fact that I want to get your attention to say, not today, not on my
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's so many questions I have. I'm trying to remember I should have been writing them down. First of all, I'm a total personal development junkie too, which I know
Mhm.
you know. And that's actually why I didn't realize it, but that lifetime learner is why I became a teacher originally, was because like I like to challenge myself and keep learning the new things. And it's so
Mhm.
interesting how that has like shifted to another like path for me with business coaching and this whole realm, that I had no idea that entrepreneurship, what it even was. How did personal development, how did that really start for you? Like I know you've always been a reader, but at what point were you like, okay, I need to dive into like the self-help or the business stuff, the podcast? What did that look like?
Well, I used to be a personal development director for my company, and I'm always teaching people how to grow in business. I work with minority businesses and helping them gain access to resources, teaching them new skill sets, all of those things. And I just found it so rewarding. I grew then into some coaching and did some additional emotional intelligence work. So I've been to some training there in Columbus, Ohio, and just through all the major learning through. Gosh, there's so many things in Columbus to do in personal development, conferences, books, all kinds of things. And for me, it started with podcasting, and it started with, oh my gosh, that really just fills my soul. And so I can say there's probably three things that really were life changing for me. I don't know if you, Lori Harder. So I love her podcast. I love, um, it really changed for me, I think, when I read Girl Wash Your Face, because it was a pivotal time in my life where I was not being treated how I wanted to be treated. And I started making some hard decisions on boundaries and people to let go that were really not finding my best interest. So I just decided that it was time for me to, cut some losses and figure out what I really wanted to do next. And that was a very pivotal time in coaching. And I went into real estate coaching then. And so it just really lit me on fire. And I love guiding people, and I love giving them great resources and just watching them grow. Like that just is like fireworks for me. And so it's just little things like that that just feed your soul. And I think once you find that little niche, that you just stay connected to it.
Yeah.
And then it grew into, then we had, of course, the pandemic and everything shut down. And so, and here we have the hurricane, which made it double worse. And I just started doing some one-on-one coaching and really started helping people with just connecting to resources within our community, because there's so much red tape here
Yeah.
when it comes to getting resources, and a lot of people just can't navigate it. And
Yeah.
that was really the thing that I could do. So I chose to help people,
I love that.
and um, very rewarding. And
Yeah.
so, it's just lifting people with a positive attitude. It is, giving a hug, holding people accountable for their
Mhm.
actions and their words,
Yeah.
and letting them know it's not okay for you to talk to me like that.
Yeah.
It is not okay for you to treat me um, in that way. It's
Yeah.
not acceptable to me, and I won't tolerate it. And I'm not afraid to tell somebody that.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is this is such, coaching's um, such a great tool in time management. It teaches people ownership and responsibility. It helps them grow in other areas because once you start that little piece, it just really, when it connects to you and your brain goes, "Woo!"
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of aha moments. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's enrichment. And so it is also empowering to build somebody's confidence and
Yeah.
really watch them hit their targets, you know, grow in their goals, step forward in their higher self, and just,
Just take
spiral.
off, bloom. Yeah, it's that alignment.
Yes.
And I love how you explained that because pretty much every guest that I have had on and we've talked about like the evolution of their business,
Mhm.
it's always just like such a natural evolution. Like I fell into this and then I realized this about myself, or I started doing this and then I tweaked and then you find the thing that is really your passion and your purpose that really lights you up, which is what I like to talk about on the show is like finding your purpose. And
Yes.
when you're in that alignment, when you're stepping into that power of your highest purpose, like you'll know, like it doesn't feel like the work, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
the other part of that is I learned new skills along the way.
Hmm.
And I learned that the people around me weren't really supportive in the things that I was doing, and they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
And so I started growing my circle.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I really pride myself on is building relationships.
Yep.
And
100%.
right, because networking, number one, you need in business. So if you're meeting 5 new people a day and you're adding them to your database and then you're adding them to your newsletter, you're also increasing your business.
Right.
And people don't think of it that way. And it's not about sales, it's about building relationships long
Yeah.
term. I don't
100%.
want to sell to you.
Mhm.
I want you to be my friend and I want to learn about you. And then I want to see what we connect with and how can we help each other. It's help me help you.
Yeah.
But it's a win-win situation. And so I feel like that's where the gold is.
Yeah.
And if I can make long-term friendships and help you, buy from you, build, help you with your business as well. I'd love to be a customer. I would love to be your VIP. I
Right.
want to take your retreat. I want you to
Mhm.
help me in my business because what
Yeah.
you can do and what I can do, or I may have a blind spot in that area
Everyone has different strengths for sure.
and skill
Um,
sets. So
and
yeah,
yeah, and I went through that as well with the boundaries and letting go of people who were some of my best friends.
yeah,
And it's not that we never have to talk to them again. It's just they don't hold the same power in my life that they did before. And I think that can be so hard for women, especially. So, can you talk more on that? Like, if someone is listening to this and they're like, they know, like, we all know those people in our
mhm,
life who tear you down or don't support you. Maybe it's not that they tear you down, but it's just that they don't support you.
sure.
What can you tell us about those boundaries and that we can put up?
So I think, and I'm going to just throw this out there. So one of the things that I do the most when I meet new people is I would love to share with you um, a really nice sentiment. And one of the things that I always come back with is, I believe in you. And sometimes when people hear that, they're like, what?
Mhm.
But it's genuine. And I do believe in them. And I want them to do well. And I want to set them up for success. And some of the things that they may not be aware of, I maybe can help them with. And so, one of the things for me that I did the assessment on is I went to a retreat and I had big aha moments over things that were not working in my life and why was I continuing to do it? And so I just drew the line in the sand and said, okay, I'm going to decide today going forward that I'm no longer going to tolerate this. And these are the reasons, and I don't have to explain it to anybody, but I can also surround myself with women who maybe are on the same track or similar track that I am, and they can help teach me and help me grow in areas that I want to add value in my life. And I don't have a lot of support in my family. So I had to reach outside from other people, and they gave me the love and support that I needed and really gave me the nurturing that I valued in other people, and gave me the success that I needed to push me towards the end of my goals and held me accountable. And for me, that is a triple bonus, and that's why I have a coach, and I have two different coaches, for two different reasons. I have an emotional support coach, and I also have somebody who is, and I'm going to call her a universe coach. I'm a manifesting generator, and she has taught me so much about myself and living in my higher power that has really brought me out or brought me into a higher level of Keisha that I probably wouldn't have seen if I didn't join her group and mastermind. And it was a mastermind of things that were way out of my comfort zone, but and different levels of people in business. But I have grown, just phenomenal leaps and bounds because of it. And so I feel very fortunate to be in those circles of people who are, doing bigger and better things than you're doing, but also helping me get to the goals that I want to get to.
I love that, putting yourself in the circle, because I've heard this before, and I don't know who has said it, but I've heard it a lot from a lot of different people. But if you're like the furthest along in your circle, you're not going to grow. Like,
You're
you
not in the
have
right
to
room. Yeah.
get yourself, like, push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about how you found the circle of people to support you in your business, because I think it is true that a
Mhm.
lot of our families, while they may be supportive, don't necessarily always understand what we do, whether they're supportive or not.
Mhm.
And they don't necessarily understand the lifestyle or the reason why we're pushing for those things. And that's why one of the reasons I think that network is so important. How have you, what are some ways that you have found that network?
So I have a business bestie, and she lives in Columbus, Ohio, and she's an author. And we met in 2000 and have been friends all of these years, and we've just been business besties. And so when I first met her, she told me she wanted to write a book. And we worked together for maybe 4 years. And I said, when are you ever going to just get around to writing a book? And so I held her accountable, and I said, by December of this year, you're going to start writing a book. Well, now she's on her way to book number 2, actually book number 3. So, and it just smaller circles, but people who have aligned goals than you do. And she needed an accountability partner. And so I am that girl. I love to hold people to a standard which they want to reach their goals, but not only that, but be consistent and and not ruin your life. I want them to have balance. I want them to make sure that they are being nurtured. I want to make sure that they have the support emotionally that they need. And I want to make sure that they have the accountability to reach their goals by, reverse engineering. So, for instance, I'm going to use real estate as an example. So, if you want to make, $100,000 a year, and you only talk to 5 people in a month, that's not going to get you to the goal that you're wanting to get to. So you're going to have to 5 times that amount to get the income that you want to make that for the end of the year. So I always use this example. And you can apply this to any business. So whether it's your email list, your CRM, your database, your newsletter list, whatever you use it for, but however you capture people that you would love to do business with. We call that lead generation. But anyways, you can use that example and still grow your business. So we always say 10 people a day, reach out to 10 new people a day, or you could do 5, whatever you feel comfortable with, start with that. And then after you've met them and told them that you're in whatever business that you're in, or sell them a product or show them a product, don't sell it to them that day, but then follow it up. And here's the whole key to this is what I always call myself the circle back girl, because it's follow up, but I just like, hey, just hollering back, and people laugh at when I say that, but it's honestly the truth. That's how I get, because I'm consistent in following up with people even though I made the introduction, but I'm following up to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Did you get that done? Or did you meet that goal? Or did you, what are those things? And people love that. They love to know that you are interested and you care, not necessarily about the sale, but, it's about making the connection and saying, hey, I really think it was important for me to reach back out.
Yeah, I love that about, I'm a huge fan of reverse engineering. Do you listen to Chalene Johnson's podcast?
I do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the Build Your Tribe. I think it was built on Build Your Tribe. It might have been on her actual Chalene one that's not.
Mhm.
Um, anyway,
The
she,
marketing one. Yes.
yes, yeah. She was talking about, I think it was last week, about reverse engineering
Mhm.
your business plan and your goals. And basically, like, if you're not doing that, you're missing out. Because
Yes.
and she was going into depth about like how vision boards are a thing of the past, because you have to do so much more than just the vision board. Like, you have to actually do the action with it and reverse engineer. Okay, if you want that car, what's it going to take to get you to get that car? Well, I can do this, this, and like all the steps to get there. And then getting your accountability partner, your mentor, and the right people on board.
Mhm.
And it is all those pieces to growing your business, or really anything that you want in life, right? You
Mhm.
have to have some action. You have to invest in the right people, get surrounded by the right people, get your mindset right. Like, it's all these little pieces that have to be there and have to be aligned for like your whole vision to take place. And I think that's so huge.
Well, and one of the things that I really is my jam is teaching people, especially this time of year when it's the holidays and people are rushing and they're thinking about other things and they're not thinking about their business, but they still want to meet their goals. I love to do a class and it's called Missed Opportunities. And so it's a calendar audit and go back through, start in January and see what appointments did you erase and didn't replace? What appointments, look back through your contact list and reach out to 5 of those people a day and go, hey, I'm just checking in on you. And you know what? Sometimes you can have that conversation again and spark go, oh yeah, great. I'm glad you called. I'm still interested in X, Y, and Z, right? But not only just missed opportunities, I love to think about goals and targets. And so I just did this class just the other night on the difference between KPIs, goals, and objectives, because they are each different, and how you can use that board. And I'm gonna have to do a talk about this one further so people can see it because it's very visual. But anyways, how beneficial it is to do all 3 of those things in your daily business, because each of them have strategy of their own. Each of them have action, and you find both or all 3 of those to be very successful. So you could be a high potential earner because of it. And they're just habits.
Are people who don't know what it is, will you explain what a KPI is?
A key index. What did I say?
Key performance index.
Key performance index.
So what's that mean in layman's terms?
For me, it's a marker, however you're tracking your success. And so you can have an objective, like say, for instance, I want to have a real estate license and I want to make $5 million. And that's your objective. But how are you going to measure yourself to get there? Right. So that's how I would reverse engineer it by saying my KPI is I need to sell 25 houses at $100,000. And then I'm going to exceed my expectation. But what does that mean in your daily task? So then again, you would think about your actions. What does it take to sell 25 houses? Okay, I'm going to have 100 contacts a day. There's certain steps that you're going to have to take to get to that. But it's practice, number 1. It is time management, number 2. And it is tagging your goal every single day and being accountable for it. So whether it's writing it down, whether it's putting it in your phone or putting it in your CRM or what kind of tracker, but you have to visualize every day where you are and what you need to do. So whether you have to add more or you could take a day off, you know what I mean? If you feel like you're at that level or marker into which you would like to reach your goal.
Okay, before we hop off of here, you've talked about time management a few times. What would you tell the woman listening to this who has the full-time job, but she's also building her business on the side? What sort of time management tips could
That's
you give
me.
her?
So I do time blocking. I definitely spend not only just time in my calendar, but also time for no phone, just using my whiteboard and brainstorming tips or things that I accomplish. And then once I whiteboard it, I sit down and take a white piece of paper and start tasking it out. And then I look in there and go, oh, I do this in 2 hours, 4 hours, it's going to take me 3 weeks. So those are the things that I do. And I also decide if it is a money-making task, if it is it lead generation and I need to invest in something such as a Google ad or a Facebook ad or whatever I need to do, or how am I going to market that and really maximize my time and money? So those are things that you want to think about first. And then the things that are left on your list are just administrative things, which take a lot of time. But the difference is if you invest well in your time, then it should work for you in making money. So those are my tips.
Yeah, I love that. I do time blocking as well. And one of the things that I try to do with my clients super early on is have them figure out those income producing tasks, like separating it out. Like, what are the things that actually make me money? What are the things that I actually have to be doing? Where can I outsource? And it's always so rewarding. I'm sure you've experienced this too, when people like have that aha moment where like, okay, like one of the things, for example, for me is I pay for someone to mow my lawn. And I'm like, that's like 3 hour, like that would take me by myself 3 or 4 hours. But for the amount of money that I can pay to get it done, they do it much quicker. It's their zone of genius. They have a much better mower and all that stuff. And then I can be working and doing something else in that amount of time that could bring me more money. And so when people realize that, they're like, oh yeah, that makes so much
That's a
sense.
win-win because
Yeah.
you value your time and your money.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, the other thing about I wanted to circle back on is empowerment retreats. So here's one thing that I think people forget about, and they need to invest in themselves in getting away.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I specialize in is, and I'm going to say I'm bougie. So I specialize in bougie luxury retreats. And the reason why I do that is because to each guest that I have, I make sure that they have all the items that they need to be comfortable, to be in a closed container and really get vulnerable. And so I'm going to give you this quick example. So one of the things that I like to do in my retreats is tell everybody to pack up and come to Florida, right? Mm-hmm. But when they come in the door, they have to leave their luggage. And then we physically unpack all of the things that they would love to get rid of in their life, business or personal. We're going to unpack it. And we get comfortable. We get in our pajamas and our robes, and we get some wine, and we talk about it. And we physically unpack the things that they want to leave behind. Mm-hmm. And it's confidential. We don't share that information outside of our circle. And we make sure that everybody leaves crossing the things off their list. And what's wonderful about that is they're vulnerable moments, but you learn so much about the person and they learn so much about you, because when you're sharing and your time and you're vulnerable, they're supporting you. Yeah. And then the wonderful thing about that is out of all of that becomes a friendship, a sisterhood, a bonding, and that's how you build strong relationships, right? Yeah. And then we fill up each other's cup because we learn about the things that we can get that person to their higher power and step into it and be bold and confident. And so we do a little role playing. Sometimes we're Beyonce, sometimes we're, Janet Jackson. We've had Paula Abdul. We've had a couple of different people. We've had a Celine Dion. We choose who we want to be, and then we mirror that person. And then we do that for an accountability period of I hold you accountable for you stepping into your higher self. And it really has been life-changing for a lot of people and transformational. Not only that, but it's such a rewarding thing to see the transformation and see that person grow and meet their target and, reach their goals and grow other relationships. And they're like, hey, I'm bringing 2 more people the next time. And I'm bringing, but each time we do a different kind of retreat, we don't always do the same retreat.
Right.
But it's very rewarding to see that. And for me, I've been to several retreats where I've had to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. I let people in, and I always say shame is a big secret, but it's really your most vulnerable moment of telling the truth. And when you tell the truth, it sets you free.
Yep. I
And
100%
so,
agree. Yeah,
yeah.
I love retreats. Retreats, I don't know that I've ever been to a bad retreat. Like, I feel like no matter what it is, you will come away with something, whether it is the sisterhood, the
Mhm,
transformation, sometimes all of it, you know what I mean?
mhm.
Um, I'm a huge fan of retreats. I
Me too.
actually purposely pick masterminds to be in that have a retreat included. It's preferably someplace warm, not always. But yeah, I love that too. Now, are you in a mastermind as well, or do you work with your coaches one-on-one that you mentioned?
I'm personally in 2 masterminds this year.
Okay.
One's a business one and one is a personal one.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing some just personal growth in general.
Mhm.
I'm single,
Yeah,
so I have, really changed my thinking in, how I live my life now and,
yeah,
where I wanna be and what that looks like for me.
yeah.
And so, I've been married most of my adult life, and then I got divorced, and I was like, my whole life turned upside
Me
down.
too, yeah.
So, just a lot of different things, whether it was financial, whether it was stability, whether it was emotional support.
Mhm.
That's when I had to really pivot and find the people in my life that I needed
Yeah,
to help me with that. And it has really, grown me outside of my comfort zone.
mhm.
But it has brought me so much more opportunity. And one of the things that I did last year that I'm the most proud of is I did in February, I did speed dating. I held a
Mm.
speed dating event and we had more men show up than we had women.
Wow.
And I learned the most about myself because I asked vulnerable questions to men and got honest answers. And I love coaching men in dating and building relationships because their view is so much different than ours
Yeah.
and the connection's different. And, the shoe's on a different foot, but it's
Mm.
Venus and Mars. So getting
Mhm.
those two together are in alignment are really the key. And so, and you have to really know what you are willing to tolerate and not tolerate.
Yep.
What are you willing to settle for or not invest your time into?
Yeah.
And so, and just a lot of, great guys, but they couldn't keep girlfriends. And they were like, I don't know why I can't keep a girlfriend. And
Right.
I'm like, major red flag.
Let's work through this.
Yeah. And a lot
What
of it really was just eye-opening to me, and I
Mhm.
just learned the most about myself because of
Yeah,
it, but it was for me, it was data.
right.
And, I love research. I love that Love Is Blind show.
Oh, I do too. I'm
Highly invested
obsessed.
highly invested in social experiments, and
Uh-huh.
so I love that they did it behind a wall, but then once
Mhm.
they really did see each other and see each other for who they truly were, some of them worked out, some of them didn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in that came in the respect of building the relationship sight unseen and not and working through communication. And those are the biggest skills in life.
I love that. Which we didn't even really get to talk about relationships on here. So we'll have to talk about that at another
Sure.
time because I feel like we could deep dive into so much. And actually super curious because I'm single as well, what you have learned. But we will chat about that at a different a different time. So stay tuned, friends. We will have Kacia back on. So one thing that I like to ask before I hop off my interviews is what is a personal development book you would recommend? Other than Girl Wash Your Face, because you recommended that one already.
Yeah. So I carry around this book all the time. Hold on one second. I'm going to grab it.
Okay.
And it's John Maxwell. Let me get this in view. 360 Leader,
Oh,
one of my favorite books.
mhm.
And
Okay.
it's about developing influence, it's
Mhm.
about communication, and it's about being in rooms with people who are smarter than you are
Yeah.
and giving feedback, not critical feedback, but understanding feedback is valuable. It
Mhm.
either lands or it doesn't,
Yep.
right? And it either builds your confidence or it sets you free.
Set you free. I like that. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I don't think I've seen that one. I've read some of his other books, but I read a lot of them in my leadership classes in
Mhm.
college because I was a business minor. Um, But interesting. Awesome. I'm so glad I asked because now I have a new book to add to my book list.
Yeah.
All right, Kacia, tell us where everyone can connect with you. I'll be sure to put this in the show notes too, guys, so you can go down and so you can connect with her.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm at Coach Kacia. I have a new landing page I just put out. I couldn't tell you what the link is because I don't know.
That's okay.
But
We'll
we'll
put it
link
in the
it
notes.
up.
Yep.
Yes. And then I'm also going to just challenge you. So if you're interested in speaking with me, I'm going to give away 5. Um, I'm going to give away 5 calendar audits for free.
Okay.
And just connecting with somebody who would like that service. And then also maybe help with some goals for 2023.
Awesome. How should people reach out to you? Just on Instagram or Facebook to get those?
You can get me at coachkacia@gmail.com, or you can call or text me, and it's 850-791-8243. And I'm on
Awesome.
Central Time.
Okay, Central Time. Oh, that's so good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was
Okay.
far enough west to have a time change. All right, guys. Well, make sure that you connect with Kacia. Find her on all the socials. Take advantage of that calendar audit as well, and stay connected. And we appreciate your time, Kacia. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So welcome.
Thanks.